Plus,
thanks for coming. Good to see you.
before Roseanne's interview with Hannity aired, she talked live to Rabbi Shmuley, and he's at the table to reveal what she's saying now about the racist tweet that sent her career into freefall, and why he says she deserves redemption. Then, one of TV's most beloved icons, and Joy's pal, Alan Alda, on how he's getting America talking again. Let's go! Let's fire up Hot Topics with Joy Behar, Sarah Haynes, Sunny Hostin, and Meghan McCain. Now, let's get things started.
The View, yes. I'm like a bat today. See this lady sleep?
You've got wings.
So I have to make an announcement today. I'm never having lunch with you girls again. I'm just saying.
You said yesterday that you would still have lunch with me. We just can't drink.
I'm no drinking in the afternoon unless I'm going to have sex afterwards. That's when I drink in the afternoon.
I will say, Joy, I am shocked at the lightweight nature.
You're a bit of a lightweight.
I mean, one drink, and this one is like, out.
I know.
I just can't believe it.
I went home, I slept for 3 hours.
I mean,
I cannot
You
do
got
it.
mad at us, and I feel
It's your
bad.
fault.
You called us
I don't think
enablers.
it's my fault.
well, you did order a round of tequila shots, and that's what put her over the edge.
See what they do to me?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I'm not doing it anymore. I'm just telling
we
you.
purposely
You did
didn't
eat,
order
though.
you a shot, and you reached to both sides
that's
of you.
true. We only
tried
ordered
to cut
4.
you off. You barely had anything.
But you didn't eat beforehand. First of all, I would like us to still get lunch. We don't have to drink at lunch.
I have
But
to
that's
drink.
the fun.
It's been a long
I'm gonna
season.
have to drink.
This is Trump's America. I think people probably need more drinks than normal.
Yeah.
And I'm not apologizing for that.
I know.
And I'm not apologizing for FaceTiming your husband.
We did FaceTime
afterward.
Poor Steve gets involved
I was
in
like, let's
this.
FaceTime Steve.
we were
FaceTime
sitting on the
Steve.
bench. We all FaceTime.
And he was
Steve.
like, what's happening?
I think she liked it.
The thing with Meghan is she has this theory that you must always drink on an empty stomach.
Not always.
Which I happen to think if you want to get drunk, that's the way to do it.
Well, she just said at lunch that it wasn't worth drinking before
Once you're full.
once you're full.
That's
right.
true.
Then you said it's not
But
worth
that's what
drinking
made
when
me
you're
drunk.
full.
That's what did it to
I feel like
me.
this is-
And those
No.
Cosmos look so innocent.
But you were drinking those like they were appetizers.
Yeah.
That was not
All
the
right.
first round. Like,
I mean,
The
All right,
other
well,
thing, to everyone who has their cell phones out, look at like with videos and whatever, it ruins our vibe. Like, just come and say
Yeah.
hi, whatever. And I was
That
like,
would've been
I was
better.
like, I don't feel comfortable talking about
I
what I
didn't
was
see
gonna
it.
say. Yes,
Yeah,
and
there
when
were
we
a
went
lot of
outside.
people
could have
Besides
passed
during
Because
a-
Joy
I'm a loud
is so
talker.
famous and important and beloved in New
Yeah.
York
Oh,
State.
Paula was there
have
too.
to
I
say.
think I was
probably
there.
drinking out of boredom. Okay. So Trump,
Wait,
let's go.
no, before we move on, you can't say we can never get lunch
Yeah,
again. I
say
just
this-
signed on to this freaking thing for another year. We have to
There's gotta
we
be
have to
lunches.
be
It's
able
gotta
to
be
go
once a
out.
week.
Yeah.
Don't
gotta
bite
be-
the hand that
You
brings you to
can't-
orgasm.
you can't.
It's got to be once a week.
Joy, can you please
What?
take it back? You will have lunch with
Take
us.
it
I'm
back.
not taking it back yet. I have to think about it. Okay, now
What
Trump.
kind of leadership is this
I know.
on the show? You're the OG
You're
of
like
the
the
View,
captain
and you're
and
not
you're
going to
bailing
take
on
us
us.
out.
We're really disappointed in you,
Whoopi
Joy.
never comes either.
I love you so much.
Oh my God, this one. She has such separation anxiety.
Already.
I know, she does.
You can still come to lunch.
The other thing is you're really fun, Joy. You
All
kept
right.
saying,
All
like,
right, let's talk about Michael Cohen now,
all
okay?
right.
All right.
So
I mean,
Trump-
you're not fun at all.
So Trump,
I take it
you know
back.
who he is. He's Trump's one-time fixer. Okay, Michael Cohen is now claiming that Trump knew and approved of the 2016 meeting where Russians offered to give his son, the fabulous Don Jr., also Jared Kushner and Paul Manafort, dirt on Hillary Clinton. Now, Donald's new consigliere, also known as Rudy Giuliani, is already trying to trash Cohen's credibility. Watch.
Well, he's been lying all week. I mean, he's been lying for years. I mean, the tapes that we have demonstrate any number of very serious lies by him back a year and a half ago, including his fooling people, hiding tape recordings, telling they weren't recorded, lying to their face, breaking faith with them, taping his client, which is a disbarable offense, I don't see how he has any credibility. I mean,
So it's interesting, because he's saying that Cohen is a pathological liar. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. And the other thing about Cohen, both Cohen and Donald take pages from the Roy Cohn playbook.
Yes, they do.
Look him up, C-O-H-N,
Yeah.
okay? He's one of the
It's
characters
true.
in Angels in America, and he was as corrupt as they come. And his idea was attack, never apologize,
Yes.
lie, tape, and that's both of them.
That's
both
both of
Cohen
them.
and Trump. Now, my question to you is, since there is no tape, I don't think, of that meeting
Of the
that
Russians- the
Cohen
meeting with the
says
Russians.
Donald knew about, and there's no tape of Donald proving it, how is that going to hold up in court?
Oh, I think very easily, because if you think about it, there weren't, Cohen wasn't alone in this. Paul Manafort was at the meeting with Donald Trump Jr. Paul Manafort has been indicted and is facing criminal prosecution in Virginia. Let me tell you, when you're facing years and years in prison, you flip real quick. And so if Trump knew about this, if Donald Trump knew about it, I think he would be in trouble, and Donald Jr. would be in trouble, because Donald Jr. testified in front of the Senate Judiciary Committee and said his father didn't know anything about it. So there's a way of
he's a
corroborating
liar.
all of this.
He's a liar, Donald Jr., if this is true.
If this is true, he lied,
So
and
then
he
he-
lied.
Can
the
he go to jail? What are the
perjury.
legal consequences?
5 years in prison, absolutely.
But Donald will pardon him, right?
He could.
Yeah. Which brings us back to...
But Julia's point of which liar, they're both liars, because Michael Cohen is a liar as well. Which
He's not,
liar
yeah.
do you believe? I think is a very valid point. Some of these quotes from Michael Cohen from the past about Trump, I'm the guy who will take a bullet for the president. I'm the fix-it guy. Anything that needs to be done, any issues that concern him, I can handle. I mean, there's a ton of quotes from him about his extreme loyalty
He
to
wasn't
President
looking
Trump
at criminal
and his
prosecution
rhetoric.
and years of
But if you're a
prison.
fix-it guy, you probably know where the proverbial bodies are buried.
Well, and
So
that's
he
what
probably
we're
knows a lot
hoping.
of
Well, not
information.
hoping, but if they have him turning, there could be more he's coming out with. But
People sing
my
like
understanding
birds.
was
It's
the
unbelievable.
legal ramifications, and Sunny, tell me if I'm wrong, is if other people in that room are now questioned as a result of saying there were other people here that can witness this,
Yeah.
and they are asked.
That's
It
corroboration.
would, yeah, and
That's
they would.
corroboration, and that's how
But we
prosecutors
should
build these
emphasize that
cases.
what he was doing is still bizarre, even just from political campaign purposes.
Who was
They
do-
were
what?
they had a meeting with a foreign
Oh, yes,
adversary.
Donald Trump
Donald
Jr.
Trump Jr. thought it was okay. And when you work on campaigns and in politics, people are always trying to offer you Oppo research on something, always. I wouldn't have taken a meeting with Canada, let alone somebody from Russia. So the idea that you were meeting with a foreign adversary,
Right.
like we said, someone from that, and you were even comfortable with that, I know it's not illegal, but it's obviously unethical.
Well, it depends.
should
But don't you think,
Depends.
Sonny, they're going to get him on something? Now a judge has ruled that the emoluments clause can be kicked in because he has been doing
Explain what
business
that
with
means.
foreign governments. Yes, and
Emoluments clause?
making money on
It's in the Constitution.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You're not allowed to, I guess, privately make money based on your position in office. And he's been doing that over and over and over again. I mean, it's just
So there's that.
unprecedented. So there's
There's
that.
possible conspiracy, which we
And
just
collusion.
discussed. There's also, paying hush money to this is alleged, to Stormy Daniels and the Playboy
Campaign
model.
finance is where this is
There's
headed.
campaign
Yeah, in
money
my
being
opinion, it has
used
to
to
be.
pay off people in secret corporations. What else? I mean, there's a million
There's
things
just
to
a
get
lot,
him on.
but I need to say this. Trump has denied that he knew about the controversial meeting at Trump Tower, despite Cohen's claims. He tweeted just this morning, "I did not know of the meeting with my son, Don Jr. Sounds to me like someone is trying to make up stories in order to get himself out of an unrelated jam. Taxi cabs, maybe?"
Whatever.
He even retained Bill and Crooked Hillary's lawyer. Gee, I wonder if they helped him make the
He
choice.
dares to call her Crooked Hillary still.
Still.
When he is the biggest crook.
Still.
I mean,
And it really works.
what about...
I mean, Joy, I call her Crooked Hillary. I do. When I'm talking about Hillary Clinton, I call her Crooked Hillary.
And what do you
too.
call him? Lion Don?
I call him President Trump, which maybe I should. I mean, I just think there are even parts of me, as you know, that still react to the adages that he uses, I guess. When you're talking about Crooked Hillary, it really worked during the election. I was like, Crooked Hillary, because I hate Hillary Clinton, as everyone here knows. But I will say,
That's out of a dictator's
siren
playbook.
song.
Make a big lie, say it over and over and over
Okay, we
again.
have to
People
She's
will
take a
believe
break.
it.
That's not a lie.
I hate to stop you, but we'll be right back with more on Pop Culture.
Still ahead, limited engagement. The latest A-list couple reportedly tying the knot after dating just 2 months. Is this a recipe for disaster? Next week, it's about to get real funny around here when Leslie Jones hits the View.
That's what I like.
Plus, Amy Adams, Chris Messina, Omari Hardwick, and Ewan McGregor are all coming to voice their views. And when Michael Avenatti co-hosts for a day, well, you know things'll heat up.
God bless you all.
Then Thursday, join us as we celebrate Sarah and give her one epic send-off. Ding, 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 ding! Next week on The View.
The latest trend in Hollywood is this whirlwind engagement on the heels of Ariana Grande and Pete Davidson. It's being reported that Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra plan to marry after dating just, wait for it, 60 days. 60 days. That's not even enough time to find out what annoys you about somebody, is it? I mean, how do you know in 60 days that you want to marry
Well, you
somebody?
don't, because they still are, you know, I feel like you're dating someone's representative when you first start
what?
dating. You're like dating their representative. Like, people put their best foot
Agents.
forward.
Yeah.
You don't really know what's going on. I mean, I didn't know Manny had this ridiculousness about the damn toilet paper until we got married. You know, like, so they're on their best behavior. So 2 months is kind of short.
But if you're Nick Jonas and you're with Priyanka Chopra, lock it down.
Yeah, you
She's
nailed it.
gorgeous. I'm sorry. She's a beautiful,
could
most
be
beautiful
that.
woman in the world. She came on the show. She was brilliant. I have this theory because I got together with my husband very quickly, which I never do, and we moved in very quickly. I have this theory that Trump's America makes everything more intense and heightened because we're
Right.
constantly talking about the threat of nuclear war, that we want to be nurtured by each other. For real, I would not have gotten together with my husband if Trump didn't become the nominee and weren't running for president.
Really?
And
So some good came
100%.
from it.
And at the RNC, when he accepted the nomination, I cried and cried and cried to him in a SUV back to our hotel room, and then he got me P.F. Chang's, and I thought maybe I can marry this guy. And he was telling me why history will survive. He was up till 4 in the morning talking about bad ex-presidents. Got me P.F. Chang's. If Trump weren't, thank you, I guess, for helping me get married.
Yeah.
But like, if Trump, honestly,
you
of all
order?
this chaos, we're both political commentators.
I think you
I
have
ordered
something
lettuce
there.
wraps, obviously, and then orange
But
chicken.
I think you have something there because
Thank you.
This is a more depressing story, but I got married the first time. Then that's a good story.
Thank you.
Mine is we got married the first time right after the Kennedy assassination. And it was the
Oh.
same idea. It was like, oh my God, the world's falling apart. Let's cling to each other. It's a similar notion. So, P.S., watch out what's going on in politics because you get married to the wrong person.
My mom always said, that's fascinating.
You don't know yet.
It does work for some people. I know
Yeah.
a couple who knew each other for 9 days and got engaged. They've now been married over 20 years,
It
so it
happened.
works.
Wow.
It's a risk, though, because it's all
Anecdotal.
lust in the beginning.
That's
It is
right.
anecdotal.
Yeah, yeah.
But my
It
mom
is.
says you need to date for at least a year because you have to season with someone. You have to see them at
Yes.
all
That's a
times
good-
of the year.
I agree. You need to see everything that
Did
they've
you
got going
have
on.
a long engagement with Steve?
27
like
years.
27, 30
27
years.
years. And yours was like a year and a half.
Well, we moved in at a year. I
You
know.
moved in?
Yeah, my parents were not happy about
Like
that.
living
Whatever.
in sin.
It's rent. Try it. It's New York. Like,
I
it's
know.
cheaper to move in.
Exactly.
But then we got engaged 6 months later, married. I had eggs to worry about.
That's true.
Oh, the eggs.
Her eggs
Yeah.
are getting
Nothing
old.
like the eggs.
I was getting older than I thought.
I
so
do think there is something, like you said, to like a world of chaos, a world of uncertainty. I'm constantly
but
paranoid about
maybe
the threat
they're
of
just in
nuclear war.
love, and
There's
they-
also something
you know.
about being politically aligned during this time. I really have all
That
these
helps.
theories about
we
it.
don't know the
that helps.
politics.
But
though.
maybe these two are just in love. I mean, I do
Oh,
believe
Sunny.
in that.
Sunny.
I
Give it a
do
rest.
believe in that.
It's
you know,
Hollywood.
you see
It's
someone
lust.
across the room, and you're like, yeah.
But you know, that's
Do you know
true.
how many times I
But
felt
that's-
that and it never worked out? I felt that a lot.
But that is true about the beginning of the relationship.
yeah.
But when you go through as many years as I've gone through, you basically have to pick a roommate. You need to find somebody you can live
Yes.
with.
You don't
So-
even sleep in the same room.
You might as well just go on Angie's list and find somebody. Because that's who you're ending up with. Somebody who can fix things
Yes.
and take care
shoot,
of
that's
things.
just-
And talk about how the world's not coming to an end.
Yeah,
History
yeah,
and
and
American.
that's
Our
right.
founding fathers made our country this way, and we'll
support
get you
each other.
PF
It's a handyman with a brain. We'll
Yeah.
be right back.
I got one of those.
Okay. Well, I usually say it's Friday, so let's have a couple of sex topics, but we already did. But here's another one.
Yes.
Apparently, we read a study that men are more likely to lie about how many people they've had sex with, and women keep an accurate count or even downplay their numbers. That's interesting. I mean, men, in other words, men, you know, exaggerate how many they've had.
They define, like, they think it looks great to have a bigger number. Women feel like it makes them look bad. So we all round, kind of like your license when they ask you how much you weigh.
Yeah, and you round down.
You always go to your skinny weight.
Well, for a woman to have a lot of sex partners, they think you're a slut.
But see, I don't want to be with
Right?
someone.
That's what people think.
I wouldn't want to be with a guy that has had a ton of partners. Like, that seems
How many
kind of
would you like him to
me,
have?
too.
I don't think.
Just
me a number.
Well, preferably 1 or 2.
Oh, you gotta have a.
Well, it
Did
depends
someone
on...
in the audience say no?
You know, it depends, I think on
it's a very
the
special
1 or
connection.
2. It's very nice to come after somebody has trained them to their way around.
Maybe that. Maybe that.
Right?
I want a well-honed skill by the time.
But
they
you
get to
remember
me.
in college? I don't. You know, and
I went
and
to
you,
a women's school.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so you remember in college?
I was in college.
Let me turn around.
Yeah.
I went to college.
You knew the guy that got around. Is that a guy you were like, oh, I've got to get with him, or was it like?
I mean, nobody was interested in me in college that I was interested in, so this is a moot point all the way around. But I will say that I just want us to get past slut shaming and
I
saying
know.
who anyone
Yeah.
should sleep with. Just do whatever you're comfortable with your own body. I have friends that can sleep with whomever they want, have no emotional feeling
Really?
towards. I have other friends who were virgins when they got married and are very happy with their partners. I don't like to tell other women what to do, how to do it, or when to do it. And I don't think we should recommend that either.
But what about the men that are like just sleeping around?
I don't like to talk about the numbers.
care. Yeah.
I don't
less
think there's a
attractive.
good number. Every time they say it, you're
If
like,
they
what?
had a sex addiction and went to
yes.
rehab for it, then yes, that I would probably think twice. But if you've like had fun in your 20s, I don't know.
I've
I mean,
had 6.
It was
Whoa,
honestly.
whoa.
Yeah, that's all. And I'm old. I have been on this earth
2 of
20
those
years.
were husbands,
Two
because
of
I know
them
you've
are
been
Slept
married
with
twice.
6 people in your entire life.
6 different ones, yeah.
That's a good
That's
number.
pretty good.
That's nothing compared to the
Exactly,
sluts
that's
I
pretty
run
good.
into. I know I shouldn't say that, but
I'm just impressed. You're like, I slept with 6 people. I, Joy Behar,
Wow.
just slept
you
with
know,
Joy.
here's the thing, and why we shouldn't be slutting around, in my
Yeah.
opinion. Men are like Johnny Appleseed. They're sowing their seeds, you know, millions and millions of seeds before one hits. And then that one hits, I'm down for the count for 9 months.
Yeah.
So you better be careful. My mother used to always tell me that for 10 minutes of pleasure, you pay the rest of your life. I'd say, 10 minutes, that much? We'll be right back.
Roseanne's interview with Hannity was just the beginning. She had a lot more to say to her friend Rabbi Shmuley last night. And he's live on The View to reveal why he says she deserves another chance. Next.
You know, I made a mistake, obviously. It cost me everything, my life's work, everything. I made a mistake, and I've paid the price for it.
That was Roseanne Barr talking with Fox News' Sean Hannity about the controversial tweets that led to her firing by ABC. Hannity's show wasn't the only stop that Barr made this week. Last night, she sat down with a longtime friend, Rabbi Shmuley Boteach, who joins us now in Hot Topics. Rabbi? So, before I get to Roseanne, how many sex partners have you had?
You know, I don't understand why, when you have a perfect specimen of masculinity like me, you bring me on after the sex segment. I mean, 5'5" monopack, that's what women are looking for today.
The number, Rabbi.
I have 9 children. I have 9 children,
Okay, 9
and 8 of them
times.
are watching. So, but you know, I've written a lot of books about sexuality,
Yes, you
and
have.
we've talked about it on your
Kosher
various
sex,
shows.
yeah.
Kosher sex, right?
Yeah.
So the other part is the unkosher part. I'll keep it kosher.
He believes that if you're just romantically having conversation with somebody, you're cheating on your husband. That's
No,
right.
no, I believe that.
Oh my gosh.
I believe
That's an
I believe that
emotional
lust. I believe that lust is critical to marriage. Someone said before that the problem with early engagements is that it's based on lust. The problem with marriage is that it's based on the absence of lust. You're
Yeah.
supposed to desire each other always.
Yeah.
And there are
Yes.
principles by which to keep that lust going and that
Yes.
fire going. Passion is critical.
Yeah.
I agree.
What about monogamy is monotonous?
Well, some men believe that.
Not if you have lust.
Some men believe that monogamy is like a type of wood or something like that.
Yeah.
It's not.
All right, they're telling me we must talk about Roseanne.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
So you have a very, you're a very close friend of Roseanne, I understand.
We've known each other for 20 years.
Yeah, and you were one of the first people she reached out to after she was fired. What did you tell her about her situation?
Well, I said to her that she wrote something in violation of her own principles and values. She is a practitioner of Judaism, very serious scholar of Judaism, and the first statement of the Bible is that every human being is created equally in the image of God. And whatever the intent of the tweet, and Roseanne is adamant it was about the Iran nuclear agreement and Valerie Jarrett's policies as opposed to her personality, it makes no difference because the effect was for the public to read about a diminishment of someone else's humanity. So Roseanne did a podcast with me where she sobbed her eyes out, cried and hyperventilated. It was one of the most difficult interviews I've ever done because she was so emotional and so anguished. And even after that, and going through the 4 stages of repentance, acknowledging you made a mistake, publicly confessing it, reaching out to the aggrieved party, which she did with Valerie Jarrett, and finally, undertaking concrete steps, giving, in this case, donations to African-American youth charities, she still was not forgiven. So the question here is forgiveness dead in America?
Yeah. Well, is forgiveness, though, in those tenements not from God rather than your fellow human? Like, you just described something to me that's a spiritual relationship.
That is correct. I actually think that Valerie Jarrett, who's a woman of immense grace and dignity, lost a national opportunity on your show 2 days ago by not saying that she forgave, because we're all going to step on landmines in this hyper-partisan environment.
You know what? Don't make her the villain. Don't twist it around that she's the villain.
Let me be fair.
Rabbi, Roseanne didn't reach out to Valerie personally. She has not done that to this day. And
he said she did.
She has not.
Well,
because we did have Valerie on, and I know Valerie pretty well, and I spoke to Valerie. She has not reached out to her directly. What she did say, though, she stayed pretty quiet, actually, over the past few months. Last week, she released a video where she's screaming that her tweet was about the Iran deal, and that she didn't know that Valerie was black. And in fact, she said, I thought the bitch was white.
Okay.
She also, I don't think that excuses her behavior, but then in her interview with either you or Sean Hannity, she says that she believes that Valerie Jarrett is Iranian, which is also not true. I don't know how to reconcile what you're saying and what she has said with what the facts are.
All valid points. I agree with Joy. Valerie Jarrett is the aggrieved party.
Yes.
She's a victim. Let's not blame the victim. I'm saying something different, though.
All right.
Martin Luther King was the greatest American of the 20th century because he restored our country to its founding principles, that we are all equally God's children. Before that... And Martin Luther King said 2 things about forgiveness. He said, A, forgiveness is not an occasional act, it's the constant attitude. And B, he said, when we lose the capacity to forgive, we've lost the capacity to love. I'm saying that Valerie Jarrett is a national figure who operated at the highest levels of politics, diplomacy. She's an incredibly impressive woman. And there was an opportunity to say, instead of saying, don't watch Roseanne's interview, to say, watch it and see if she's sincere. Watch it and see it if she means it. You're making some good points. In my conversations with Roseanne, she cried, she hyperventilated, and she apologized for 6 weeks. Then she did that outtake, which bothered me. And I told her publicly in a podcast that it bothered me. I said that this does not manifest your true heart. She said, well, Shmuley, it was supposed to be comedy, it was an outtake. I said, but it was a mistake. I told her that, and I agree with you, it was a mistake. But at what point, when a woman begs for forgiveness, and in terms of reaching out to Valerie, I reached out to someone who's an intermediary with Valerie, and I think Valerie felt that, you know what, I just want to move on from this. And I understand that.
Was Kathy Griffin forgiven by the right wing?
I think that we've politicized forgiveness, and it's terrible.
On both sides.
Yeah, absolutely.
Rabbi,
we're all guilty.
Can we show a clip of her? She was on Sean Hannity's show last night talking about the fallout.
The thing that broke my heart the most, I have to say this, is that I have African-American children in my family and in my loved circle.
In your immediate family?
Yeah, and in my loving circle, and Asians too, and Hispanic people, and Jews get around, let's put it like that. But I felt so bad for those kids because I love them, and I didn't want them to think of me like that, you know? And I know, and I was so sad, and I'm so sad that anyone thinks that of me, but I'm not that person.
So, Rabbi, I understand everything you're saying about forgiveness, but I'm a Republican on The View, and every day I come on here trying to tell people that Trump supporters and Republicans were nuanced. It's not just one blanket thing. And I was so excited when this show first came on, and I really liked it because I thought it was a reflection of the middle of the country. And the problem I have right now is Roseanne is every gross stereotype I'm trying to get people to go away from. Her tweet, a lot of the incendiary things she had said about Jewish people, obviously about Valerie Jarrett. So it's hard for me to come back, and it's not even about forgiveness for me. It's more that I don't want her to be associated with the Republican Party in any way.
Well, 26 million people watched her show, I think, for two reasons. Because for the first time, we're watching a multiracial family. America wants unity. And secondly, a multi-political family, different political views, and they still love each other and they're a family. America's no longer a family. It's destroying us, this hyperpartisanship. So the show was a blessing, and that's why I think it succeeded for Democrats and Republicans. As far as Roseanne as a person, Roseanne has no history of bigotry, no history of prejudice, no history of racism.
You're dressed up like Hitler with cookies that look like Jewish people from the ovens. That's not a kind person.
Okay, well,
that would do something like that.
I never said that Roseanne is perfect and didn't make serious mistakes. She has. She has elbows. I said she has no history of racism. She says that she did her tweet not by way of excuse, because she always apologized and said, don't defend me. And my conversation with her was only about her absolutely unconditionally asking Valerie Jarrett for forgiveness.
Well, she did the forgiveness. I think she asked for it last night on Hannity's show, and it looked like to me that it was sincere. You agree, ladies?
Yeah.
I mean,
no, sorry, I was saying yes to
my
something
issue is people can choose to forgive what they want. I want her to stay the hell out of my lane in Republican politics because she's making everything worse.
Yeah, but does she have to suffer anymore? She's practiced.
No, I don't want anyone to
But
suffer
they say to
more.
do good without the expectation of return. So when you ask for forgiveness, that does not guarantee that someone's ready to forgive, because you carry that in yourself. So I think that's not something that when you say, well, she said sorry, so she should be forgiven. That's on each of us.
It's less about forgiveness and more about accepting responsibility.
You got the last word. Thanks to Rabbi Shmuly. Go take it. We'll be right back.
Why does Alan Alda have everyone talking? From Tina Fey to Sarah Silverman to Judge Judy, he's live on The View next.
Is a true Renaissance man. He acts, he directs, he writes best-selling books, he picks out the best wines. And now he's the host of a podcast called Clear and Vivid. The man never sleeps. Please welcome the great, fabulous Alan Alda. So, Alan, before we get to your podcast, which is really on a great level of all about communication, I want to talk to you about a topic we were discussing, not the sex topic. The other one, about...
but there was no other one.
Well, we talked about Michael Cohen. You don't want to discuss that. That's boring. How about the one about people rushing into engagements after knowing each other for 2 minutes? How long did you know Arlene before you...
We knew each other a year before we got married.
It's worked out, hasn't it?
61 years.
Wow.
It's funny, I think I get a little less applause than I did when I said 60 years. It's a more round number.
One time somebody asked you on a talk show, what is the secret of your marriage? And all you said was, we love each other. It was so simple and so to the point.
Arlene my wife has a different answer to that.
What's her answer?
She says, the secret to a long marriage is a short memory.
That's right. She's right about that. That's a good one.
Mr. Alda, you become the king of communication, and you're talking about it in your new podcast. You also started the Alan Alda Center for Communication Science 9 years ago. You say that, and I think this is really interesting, that I don't think we're really listening unless we're willing to be changed by the other person. I think that's more important now than maybe ever, but how do you think people can do that in these politically charged times?
I realize it's a radical thing to say to somebody.
Kind of is.
I think it's true for me. I don't think I'm really listening. Unless, underneath, I think, whatever this person is telling me, there may be something in there if I really listen, not just to the top part, but underneath. What's their impulse? Why are they saying this? What are they trying to figure out? And maybe there's something positive about them that can change me for the better. I should always look to be changed for the better by somebody. But I find I listen more carefully if I think, what is... I was talking to somebody... No, I was listening to a conversation on a YouTube thing. And somebody was talking about how they think it's actually possible that the world is flat. And if I were in conversation with that person, I hope I would say, well, how did you arrive at that? Tell me where'd you get that? Because there's something good about it, which is they're trying to figure out how nature works. Is the earth round or flat? What is it? So underneath it is something useful that I can identify with. We don't have to yell at each other all the time.
No, I always say, like, if you're talking to someone, I always say, what if I'm wrong here? And try to flip it on the
I say it out loud.
Yeah.
You know, maybe I'm right. And on the podcast, I interviewed Judge Judy.
Oh, yeah, what'd you have to say?
And she says that she has as a negotiating technique that she often will say something self-deprecatory.
Really?
To put herself down. Maybe
I've
not so
never
much.
seen her do that.
I'll tell you something. On the podcast, it's very, and most of the people I have conversations with about relating and communicating show a different side of themselves than you see in public.
Yeah.
Like she said a very insightful thing, I thought, and very sensitive. She said, the person in a dispute, the person who's angry, has an easier time controlling their emotion than the person who's hurt.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
I think that's true. And I
that's
think the
true.
person who's angry maybe ought to give a little leeway to the person who's hurt.
Don't you think anger sometimes covers the hurt, though?
Sure.
Why do you say that?
Mr. Aldo, we communicate differently than we did, in the not so distant future. A lot of it plays out on things
We
like
wish
Twitter.
everybody would call me Alan, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
But, you know,
it feels so weird.
Because underneath it
Alan.
all, I'm really a millennial.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go with A-bomb.
So just call me Al.
Yeah, okay, Al. But we communicate a lot on Twitter.
Yes.
Is this even count as communication? And are we getting it wrong?
Well, there is a problem with these extra short communications, I think, on texting and that kind of thing. You know?
Yes.
I've been reading a lot of letters from people from the old days, from 100 years ago. And they wrote long, beautiful letters, especially love letters. You know, now in the future, they're going to find a trove of love letters on some decaying hard drive.
Yeah.
And all they'll say, 1,000 letters that say, hey, what's up?
So true.
You're right.
Now, tell them about, do you mind if I do? Tell them about Sarah Silverman, who you interviewed. That story is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's a really interesting story. She got a tweet from somebody who was very angry and tweeted one word to her, the worst word you can say to a woman. And instead of getting angry with him, she looked up his profile and saw he was in a lot of pain, and she figured his pain was causing the anger, similar to what you said. And she said, speak from a place of love, you're better than that. And he said, I can't. I was abused by a man when I was a child, and I have no ability to love, and I can't get help, I'm poor. She found him a place where he could get free therapy. This is instead of feeling insulted, she helped him. He's taking the therapy, he's changing his life, and now they communicate as friends all the time.
Go, Sarah.
Wow. And that's, I really think.
And you can hear wonderful stories like that on Clear and Vivid.
Clear and Vivid. And that's what I was just going to say. Your podcast, it's all about communication, Clear and Vivid. And it's just so smart. You're working with these really smart millennials, young people.
Yeah.
Who knew you were a millennial? They actually have some thoughts on how you communicate, though. Let's take a look.
I think my boss should stay in his own generation.
He sends me these emails with all of these acronyms.
IDK, ROTFL,
BMBTS.
no one says that.
And now he has this new podcast.
He's the world's oldest millennial.
So you really are. You really are.
He is the most, I know Alan for many, many years now. We met in 1990. We were on a movie, Woody Allen movie together. And he is the most childlike, mature person I've ever met.
Sometimes I'm childish.
No. Well, I think childlike is
Not
more than
ish,
one.
but Ike.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, to find out how you can listen to his fabulous new
Yeah, now
podcast.
here's the thing. You go to
Clear and Vivid.
alanalda.com. This is for, I'm 82. I have friends about my age who never heard of what a podcast is.
Yeah.
They don't know how
Yeah.
to get to it.
Oh, I see.
And so you go to alanalda.com, you click on Clear and Vivid, boom, you're a millennial.
I love it. Or you can go to our website, too. Thank you, Alan. Always a pleasure to see you. We'll be right back.
The Emmy-nominated star of SNL, Leslie Jones, is making Monday better at the Hot Topics table. Plus, summer fun for at least half off on a brand new View Your Deal.
Welcome back. ESPN is launching a new music campaign to fight negative stereotypes and discrimination against black female athletes with a new video called Undefeated, performed by Rihanna J. Take a look.
Mina like Serena, drifting all in gold, speeding past my, still believe it, I'm undefeated.
So apparently this is a real thing. As we know, tennis player Serena Williams, who's probably the best female tennis player ever.
Tennis player ever.
The best tennis player, maybe. She recently mentioned how she gets drug tested much more than white players. Yeah. What's up with that?
Yeah.
And why? How will this change?
I think it's been happening to black athletes and black women in particular forever. We got to talk about it more.
And things like this will help that.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, Serena? Okay. Anyway, everybody have a great weekend. Have a great day. Take a little time to enjoy the